Hey Anthony, hope your trip is going well over on the coast. Here is your video lesson for this week. So because you're not here and we're not going to be able to really focus on the song, which I want you to be doing, by the way, while you're gone, what I would like to talk about this week is a little bit of a theoretical thing. So what we're going to talk about is a major scale. What is a major scale? You've definitely heard of a major scale before. It kind of sounds like the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You've heard that before. And that's what a lot of our music is based off of, the music that we listen to. So we're going to talk about how do we create a major scale, what does it mean, and then in next week's lesson we're going to talk about some chords and how chords relate to our major scale. So the first step when we're looking at all these major scales is first being able to find our root note. Our root note is, for example, if I said we were doing a C major scale, our root note is C. Our root note is kind of like the base of where we're going to play the scale on top of. So first of all, let's say we're talking about C major scale. The first thing, before we even play any of these scales, I think it's important to be able to find C. So that's part of the lesson this week, is I want you to be able to find C all over the neck. How many different C's do we have? So first step would be, especially up to the 12th fret, knowing it up to the 12th fret is really important. So finding C on our E string. So we know that if we go up our E string, we've talked about this before many times, we have E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. So knowing that C is right over here on our 8th fret. Likewise, being able to do it on all the other strings. Finding C here, finding C here, finding C here, finding C here, and finding C here. Really important, so you can spend some time just doing that, as well as any other note that we can think of, you know what I mean, is knowing where all of our D's and our F's and our G sharps are. No, it's super important, but we've talked about that before. So back to the major scale. How do we create a major scale? So what we're going to do is, I have it written on a little piece of paper here, and I'll put it right up to the camera here. So what we're going to do is we talk about the major scale formula. So when I say formula, this works for every major scale, not only the C major scale, but for everything. So once we know this formula, we can start applying it to the other keys. So you can see here, I have it written right here. What we do is we start with our root note. So I'm not sure if this looks backwards or not. It might. Anyway, so we start with our root note. In this case, we're going to talk about C. From our root note, we go up one whole step, so we move from our root note up a whole step, and we know going from a C up to a D is the full step that we're looking for, or a whole step. Then we're going to going from the next root, or the next note, which is our D, going up a whole step. So we'll be going from a D to an E. Then, to go to the 4th note of our scale, we're going to go from that note right there, and go up a half step. So we know going from an E to an F is just a half step. Likewise, we're going to go to the next one. We're going to go up a whole step, F to G, whole step again, G to A, whole step again, A to B, and then we're going to go up another half step, and we know that B up a half step goes to C, which is back at our root note. So I have a little R written right there again. So knowing this is super important, and I will have this for you. I will have it written out for you when you get back. Going root, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So how does that work when we play it? This is kind of like the last thing we talked about today. And what we're going to do is we can play these major scales on either multiple strings or just a single string. Being able to do on multiple strings is going to be really important, but why don't we just try it on one string for now, just so we can really see how the whole steps and half steps work. So let's say I want to do a C major scale. So we start on C, we find where our C is. Then we said we would go up a whole step. Then we go up another whole step. Then we go up a half step. Whole step. Whole step. Whole step. Whole step. And then we finish up with a half step here. Takes us right back to our C. I'm going to play back down. Pretty easy. So a lot of the music that we listen to is really based off of these kinds of scales and stuff. And they're great exercises. So now, instead of just playing on one string, it seemed a little bit silly, right? If I'm trying to play the scale really fast, going all the way up one string and all the way back down one, or the same string, it's a good exercise, but it's not really that practical. So what we can do is learning our fretboard really well, this is what it's going to help us with, is that we know that this is a C here. We already mentioned that. Going up a whole step from C takes us to a D. Very, very easy right there. But instead of having to hop to E all the way back here, it seems a little bit silly, what we can do is we know that if we just go on to our next string, our D string, 2nd fret, that's where our E is. Same note. Half step, whole step takes us to our G. Now going to A would be silly, so we can just go to A on our G string. 2 frets over is B, 1 fret over is C again. So instead of having to take our guitar or our hand and go shift it all the way up the neck, what we can do is just go stay in one position and just play on multiple strings. We'll talk about a little bit more about playing that and changing the different keys next time I see you. So hope your trip is going really well, man, and hope this video lesson is useful for you. And we'll talk a little bit more about it when I see you next time. Okay, have a good time. Thanks so much. Bye.